All right, good morning. Great cup of coffee. So this morning we're going to cover making biscuits from scratch. Also, let me just say thank you for checking out Playing in the Kitchen with V. Appreciate it. I've seen a lot of people on my Facebook discussing about can't find canned biscuits in the store. And when I decided I wanted to do this channel, I knew this is one thing I wanted to cover because everyone assumes making biscuits from scratch is just a lot of work. And honestly, the only thing I dislike about it is I don't like putting my hands in it, which is how my mother always done it. And so I do the spoon method, and sometimes I do a method what's called spoon drop biscuits, which is pretty lazy on my half, but it works. So, in front of me, I've already actually put my flour in. Let me get a sip of this delicious cup of coffee that my husband made. He is a barista and don't even know it. This, by the way, is from made through an espresso machine, which we will actually cover this machine probably within a couple of weeks. Set that to the side. So, in my container, I have, and I'm not a brand snob, so I just get whatever's cheap. This is just self-rising flour. So I have 3 cups of self-rising flour in here. I also have lard. Now the key ingredient to great biscuits that are light and fluffy is lard. Yes, and I know I stress that a lot. But yes, it can be done with butter. It can actually even be done with olive oil. It doesn't have to be something that is like a solid or in between like a butter or a lard. You can actually do it with a liquid oil. I've made it plenty of times like that. But anyway, the best light and fluffy, so when you crack open a biscuit, it's just light and fluffy and flaky a little bit, is your lard. So I have added 3 heaping tablespoons. Now when I mean heaping, I mean something like that. That's what I call heaping. Now I've actually tried to put this into a recipe because honestly when I make biscuits I kind of eyeball it and just really go from there. So when you put in your lard, what you're going to do is you're actually going to take that lard and kind of cut it into your flour. Okay. Now my mom used to do this a little differently. She would make her a little bowl inside the flour and do everything in there. But I am not my mother. And I do things a little bit differently. But I do remember several times that we would actually drive up to Louisville to see family and my uncle, and it didn't matter if it was 3 in the morning or 6 in the morning or 12 o'clock at night. He wanted biscuits. He asked her and she made him homemade biscuits. And of course, he was a horrible diabetic, and I'm assuming that his wife didn't like making him biscuits because she tried to take care of him. So when my mom came, it was kind of more of a treat. So we've got it cut in there pretty good. As you can see little chunks. So now I'm going to actually get milk out. And now typically you can use buttermilk. Is typically what people like to use. But I'm going to tell you again, you don't have to use buttermilk. You can use whole milk, 2% milk. You can actually even just use plain old water. You can use powdered milk as long as it's mixed up right with the water, okay, to make a liquid. So I'm going to measure this out for you. Typically, yes, I eyeball it and I just add it as we go. I'm going to start out with 8 ounces. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this in a little bit at a time. start with a little bit better than half. Now I'm just going to mix this up. Now what you're looking for is you're not looking for it to be real thin. If you have made any dough before, you want it to actually start looking like this. And it's to where it will actually form a ball. I'm going to add actually a little bit more. And by the way, I did wash my hands. So 3 cups of flour, 4 heaping tablespoons. I'm sorry. It is still early. My brain's not getting firing, or not yet firing well. 4 heaping tablespoons of lard. And then roughly, we are probably going to use about that whole 8 ounce of milk. Now I've got a pretty good dough started right here. And I've already got my oven preheated to 425. Also, I will tell you, when you're working with flour and oils like butter, the chiller you keep your butter, or in this case your lard, the more flaky your biscuits will be. Alright, so I'm going to set that to the side. Let me put this back in the fridge. Now I'm going to bring over my big cast iron skillet, which we'll probably go over this at some point too, and I'll probably let my husband do it because that's his thing, is how to season a cast iron skillet. And I can assure you, for you young people out there that's younger than me and think that Rachel Ray and Pioneer Woman and all these other cookwares are just awesome. Really, once you buy a good cast iron skillet and you learn how to season it and take care of it, you won't buy anything else. Because let me tell you, I've went through a lot of cookware sets and I always end up right back here. So, now, like I said, we've got a good dough. I take my spoon, and I'm not going to spoon them today because I've got people watching. I'm actually going to take and make a ball. Now, I believe the less flour you can get by with, the more fluffier the biscuit. And that is just from experience from making donuts and making pastries in the past. So if you can get lucky and make your mixture to where it's like this and not sticking to your hands really bad, and the key to that is actually your lard ratio to your dough. And honestly, if you follow the recipe pretty closely, you should end up with this. So, actually, let me go ahead and spray my pan. Oh. Whoops. Alright guys, boo-boos happen in the kitchen. As long as I ain't decorating a cake and dropping it on the floor or nothing, or a fresh baked pie, we're good. Alright, we'll set that right there. So anyway, we just put your biscuits in. Again, my daddy used to make what's called cat head biscuits. And we call them cat head biscuits because they were pretty much the size of this whole hand. And I guess that's just the way guys do it. These will actually probably be a pretty good sized biscuit too. So if I was doing what I call drop biscuits, honestly, I would scoop them up with my spoon like this and just put it in there. And you can see it's not a gorgeous biscuit. It's not going to be a gorgeous biscuit because it's got little pieces sticking up, but it'll be a tasty biscuit. And for me, I'm more about taste than I am about looks. as you can tell. So, as I'm doing these, I was trying to think of what song to incorporate into making biscuits. Because I really want this to be a lot about just kind of making things, you know, about cooking recipes and teaching people how to make certain dishes and certain things that for a lot of people seem pretty hard to do. Soaps and lotions and bath bombs, doing cast iron pans, laundry detergent, let's see, coffee. I've spent 20 years chasing down the best cup of coffee, and honestly, after several machines, I feel like I've pretty much found the best coffee maker and the best coffee. And I say that because I've actually I've roasted my own beans, and I've done a little bit of everything to get the best cup of coffee. Alright, so I'm just going ahead and actually get the rest of this out. So you're roughly going to end up with 2, 4, 6, 8, about 9 biscuits. If you make them smaller, you're actually probably going to end up with a little bit more than that. Maybe 12 biscuits. Like I said, I didn't take this from a recipe. This is just from how I make my biscuits. And this is just how over the years I saw my mom do them. So I'm actually going to put this one on the outside because that's going to be a pretty good size biscuit. Alright, so again, I've got my oven preheated. It's ready to go. It's 425. Go ahead and wash my hands. I just got sidetracked, didn't I? I was going with the song I was going to incorporate. Anyway, so the song that I'm going to incorporate today is a song that I wrote about living in a small town. And one of the things I put in it was actually a line that says about my mama making biscuits. So I thought, well, that's pretty appropriate. So that's what I'm going to try to perform for you today. We're going to go ahead and put these in the oven. Now, you don't have to use a cast iron pan. You can actually use a glass baking dish, a metal bread pan, whatever it is that you would like to use. I will tell you this, cast iron gets hotter than your normal metals. So, and it's been a long time since I've used cast iron for baking biscuits, so we'll have to see how that goes today. So I'm going to go ahead and take these and put them in. I'm putting mine on the middle rack. And I'm going to set it for, I'm going to start out probably about, I'm going to go with 10 minutes. But it's probably going to take more about 12 to 15 minutes. But I like to start lower and work my way up because I can always just sit here and look at it. So guys, while that's baking, give me just a moment. I'm going to step out and grab my guitar and get situated, and we will get you a little tune while the biscuits are baking. Alright guys, welcome back to Playing in the Kitchen with V. I've got out my Luna, one of my favorite guitars, and I'm going to see how it goes without micing anything, and we're going to try to do this original for you. Also, if you're enjoying what you're watching, please give us a like and subscribe. We're going to have a lot of different stuff on this channel. Pretty much it's going to be, you know, recipes and music. But the song that I'm getting ready to cover for you, I wrote a couple years ago. Like I said, it's about a small town, and it's called Chickens and Babies. So I hope you enjoy. Let's see if I can get through it without fudging it up, because like I said, this typically, I don't do this without my husband, so. I'm from a small day before the sun goes down. There's nothing to do but to fire up your truck. And I'm from a holler, and all my family live right down the road. We listen to country gold Saturday night with KD Country on my radio. 'Cause life is good in the country. Simple with my mama's biscuits and gravy. Life is good in the country. These mountains make you wanna ride around like Daisy. We're just good old boys and girls raising chickens and babies. Just good old boys and girls raising chickens and babies. The crickets sing on a summer night, and lightning bugs look like stars in the sky. Love to cruise a town on a summer night, just seeing who we can see as they roll by. But I don't like being cramped up in a city, 'cause everybody's in a hurry to get to and from. And all that fancy stuff ain't worth a penny. It's a simple life on a back road making memories. Life is good in the country. Simple with my mama's biscuits and gravy. Life is good in the country. These mountains make you wanna ride around like Daisy. We're just good old boys and girls raising chickens and babies. Alright, so there you go. Where is our time at? We got 2 minutes approximately. For our biscuits are done. Actually, I should just go ahead and check in on them for a moment. Here, darling, take my guitar. And let's see where these biscuits are at. They're actually pretty light, and we're at 2 minutes, so I'm actually going to go ahead and just add. I'm going to add well, we'll let that actually stop, and then I'll add 3 more minutes to it. As you can see, they are pretty brown, or not brown, they're light. They need to be brown. So that will we'll take just a break, and we'll be right back, and I will show you what the results will be. Alright, welcome back to Playing in the Kitchen with V, which is me. So our biscuits just got done, and I can tell you it took 25 minutes. And the reason I wanted to start low is because cast iron, like I said, gets hot, and I guess I was a little afraid that we'd burn biscuits. Wouldn't be my first time burning biscuits. But anyway, here is our biscuits. You know, the tops are broken. Typically, I will tell you, when you get tops that's broken open, for me, that tells me too that I did not have a lot of flour laying on top to hold down the dough. Because when my mom makes them, too, she uses a little more flour than I do, and she rolls hers around. And so your top is more smoother, and of course it's more flour. Let's see, these are, oh yeah, these are going to be delicious. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. like I said, the key to a great biscuit is lard. And look, that is just...
You zoom in.
They're hot. And if this was not a good mixture, they would not just barely come apart like that when I take a fork to them. Light and fluffy. They just fall apart. They crumble. If this didn't have enough lard in it, or it was too much flour, it'd be a heavy biscuit and not light and fluffy, and it would not break away like that. It just crumbles in my hand. That's the biscuit that you want. So, and honestly, I just messed up. But anyway, so there is your biscuits. Like I said, you can put buttermilk in this recipe. You can put any type of milk or just even plain water. It works. You can use powdered milk as long as you mix it with water. So again, hope you enjoy the recipe. Give us a like and subscribe. We're gonna the next thing I'm gonna cover is gonna be homemade gravy. So that will be the next video that will follow this one. Also, put some comments down if there's any of the recipes that you would like. I am thinking about putting a recipe out there, and I don't believe I've ever seen anybody ever do this, and I just got lucky and tried it myself. It is homemade banana pudding, but your pudding is actually made in the microwave, just like you would make it on the stove in a double boiler, but it's kind of foolproof. Far as there's no scorching, no scorching or burning your pudding. Anyway, so if you'd like to see that video, or is there another recipe that you'd like for me to cover, put it down in the comments. If you have a different take on making a biscuit, by all means, put it down in the comments, and we will. I'll discuss it with you. Again, thank you so much for dropping by, Playing in the Kitchen with V. Give us a like, subscribe to us, check us out on, we have a page now on Facebook where this is, a lot of our videos will be posted. Hope you enjoyed the music. Oh, and the t-shirt, by the way, is my band, Silhouette, me and my husband's. And you can check us out on Facebook too, silhouette.ky. We're on Instagram. If you're local, come and check out some music. We play in the local area, and we play over Gatlinburg in Tennessee some, so come check us out. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by, and we will see you next time.